Now we are going to see question number 19 from Indian Catechism of Catholic Church. Question number 19 is, in what status did He create the first father and mother? The answer is, He created them in a state of holiness and blessedness. Now we can see the explanation for this. After God decided to create a family for Himself, He planned how to bring that family into existence. According to that plan, He decided to create humans on earth and to leave them with the responsibility to choose God. In this way, by giving them freedom, He also had to determine how to interact with them. If humans could speak to God face to face, any person, out of fear, would pretend to love Him and express false desire, out of fear of God, rather than revealing their true will. To prevent this, God decided not to speak to humans directly, but instead to create earth and give them various sufferings and trials. Through these hardships, He could determine who truly loved Him and would include them in His family. However, this did not fully satisfy God's heart, for if He subjected innocent humans to suffering as a test, it could later lead humans to blame Him. Therefore, instead of immediately creating the world of suffering, He first created a garden filled with joy, allowing humans to live in comfort without any suffering. In this state, He could ask them about their will, and if they choose not to love Him, even in such a perfect state, then and only then would He send them to the world of suffering to test future generations. Even while doing this, He realized that if He directly asked humans whether they loved Him, they might still lie out of fear. Thus, God decided not to ask directly, but indirectly. How would He ask indirectly? Instead of asking, "Do you love me?" He thought He could ask whether they desire what He was offering. Or He could test them by commanding them to either perform or refrain from a certain action. But what action should be used for this test? God decided that from the moment humans were created until the end of the world, the one universal action that people from all cultures perform is eating. So, He chose eating as the action for His test. There was still a challenge with this decision. Should He test them by telling them to eat or not to eat? To solve this, God decided to use both commands, one in the Garden of Eden and the other in the world of suffering. He decided that in the Garden of Eden, He would command them not to eat in the Garden of Eden, and in the world of suffering, He would command them to eat. But what would He command them to eat or not to eat? God chose two kinds of food, one that brings death and one that brings life. To identify those who did not value the life He offered as a blessing, He would command them not to eat the food that brought death. Those who disregarded this command and ate it would be considered as people rejecting Him. Meanwhile, those who valued the life He offered would eat the life-giving food like Eucharist. This would prove their worthiness to be part of His family. Based on this decision, God created the first parents and showed them the forbidden fruit, saying, "Do not eat from this tree. If you eat from it, you will lose your life." By giving this test of "do not eat," God created the first parents, Adam and Eve, in a state of holiness and blessedness without the need to send them to the earth first.